You are live on 98.9 Northwest FM. I am Nathan. This is the Tuesday review. As always, joined by James. How you going, James? What's made you happy in the last week?
The trailer for the new Deathstalker movie reboot came out, so I'm really excited for that. So.
I was really excited to see that at Monster Fest, but it's over PAX.
Yeah, exactly. So we can't make it.
Well,
So
very upset about that. But
Yeah.
that's I'm glad it made you happy.
Yeah.
Also joined by Callum. What's made you happy the last week, Callum?
Well, I think all the boys know in this studio,
Yeah.
apart from our guest, who might not know about this. Some years ago, we were blessed to see a film called The Maiden at the Melbourne International Film Festival, and it was a movie that affected me personally quite deeply. I think we all enjoyed it more than some of the other people in the audience.
Mm-hmm.
And for years, I've been like, "When's it coming out? Where is it? How do I watch it again?" And every now and again, I'd mention it on the show, being like, "Well, where is it?" I'd be googling it all the time. I'm banned on Mubi's website. Because Mubi had it listed. I swear to no. I'll show you later.
He showed me. That's true.
Every time I try to go to the Mubi website on my phone, I'm banned.
I can access the website at home, but he can't.
All right, let's talk about this another time.
Anyway,
that's a whole nother story.
That's right. The thing that made me happy this week is that The Maiden was released on Blu-ray without ceremony last week.
Yeah.
So I ponied up my cash, and it's hopefully arriving on Sunday. So that made me very happy.
I'm going to be very out of my depth this whole thing because I'm not a movie person.
No, that's
you don't have to be. Don't
cool,
worry.
awesome. I'm very glad.
Also joined by Dragyn. How are you, Dragyn? What's made you happy in the last week?
Someone's made me happy in the last week. I got a haircut the other day. I've been growing my hair out for a while, and finally got my sort of original cut back, which is really made me happy in the last couple weeks.
Feeling fresh?
What is that cut called? It's like the sides, but it's long.
It's just
it's not a mullet.
No, it's an undercut.
Undercut.
Like
That's
undercut.
the one. Yeah.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
As for me, what's made me happy? I'll go with two small things.
Mm-hmm.
I have binge at home, and we've been watching the new Seinfeld 24/7 channel they've got. That made me happy.
The bit rate's really high.
It looks nice. It's just like 24/7, like no ads, just
That's
Seinfeld.
the only-
Seinfeld. I love that.
Seinfeld.
That's the only reason to have binge.
Yeah, I know. That's
That was
There's nothing else on there.
the Blockbuster in Glenroy had all they played on. Do you remember in Blockbuster they had the little TVs in the corners?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just Seinfeld.
yeah. So
Those were the days.
Yeah.
And Helldivers 2 launched on Xbox, and I've been playing that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's been making me happy.
Yes.
That's fun. That's a great time. Yeah. I guess we get straight into it.
Mhm.
We are very lucky to be joined by Dragyn, who is a published author and has a new book to spruce.
I do. Yes.
So tell us about, how did you get into this? Where did it start?
Oh, okay. So as far as writing goes, I started very, very early. Like I was, my mum always tells me stories about like me telling stories from a very, very young age. I started writing when I was like, I would have been like 10, 11, 12 years old. And started off with what could be nowadays most closely related to bad fan fiction. I think I made I told this story at my last book launch, but wrote a gritty Mario reboot at some point, which was very much like New York City grungy Bowser's gigantic, and Mario's gonna go and.
Have you seen the Mario Brothers movie?
I was going to ask.
I have, yes.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
93?
That's such a good movie.
The
Yeah.
93 one is a masterpiece.
But yeah, and then throughout time, I just kept writing different stories, which all of them looking back were terrible.
But somewhere.
Yeah,
You know what?
exactly.
In the age of AI, I'm sure they're great.
I'm sure they're great. Like looking at all that, it's like the amount of algorithms that I would have fed with that stuff. But yeah, and then one day just sort of turned and went like, what if I actually try to do this? What if I actually put myself into the mindset of going, okay, this is one that we're going to really put in the work and try and get it across the line. And that was, Harbingers of Ragnarok, the first book, Berserker, which I believe the first draft was technically what is now the first and second book, with the second book which has just come out. That was pretty much it. So,
did you go to school or have any training in creative arts or writing? Or
not really. I just did it a lot. Like obviously, like through general school, like did sort of creative writing and English class and all that sort of stuff. But Never really did any sort of actual study into it or anything like that. I just
As someone who did spend 4 years, I have a writing degree. Let me tell you, I'm not going to say it's a waste because it teaches it. For me, it taught me how to think, and it taught me like a foundation.
Yeah.
But one of the things that's frustrating about learning writing from like professors and academics and whatnot is that everyone has a different set of rules.
Yeah.
So like you'll write something in one way, you'll get good grades for it, and then another lecturer will take marks away because you used the Oxford comma. God forbid.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like film. We talk all the time. Like people come on the show talk about film school, how it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
It's similar with writing, where the only requirement you really need is to read and to keep doing it.
Yeah.
The best way to learn is to just do it.
Just do it. It's the same thing I've said, like, we were talking before, but like, with like, talking about tabletop games or anything like that, people talk about being a game master or running games, and people say the main question I always get asked is like, oh, how do I get into it? Where do I start? When do I know I'm ready? I'm like, you won't know when you're ready. You won't feel like you're ready. You've just got to do it. And it's like, yes, your first game, at least in your mind, is going to suck. And, same thing, like with any skill, with any, talent, whatever you want to call it, the first one's going to suck. Always. Yeah. So, but then you take that and you go, all right, what could be done better? And you move better on, like, same thing with writing, like, the first draft's going to be bad. Or at least you're going to read over it and there are going to be parts that you go, oh, what was I thinking with that? But then you take that and you rewrite it. Same thing. There are times when you just scrap the whole thing and start again. But you have that experience. You have that ideal of like, this is where we've come from. This is how we improve on it. And absolutely. Like you've got to start somewhere. And the only way really to learn is by doing it. You can do all the classes in the world. Like I think that's what school and training does really well but I think there's a lot of people that think that it's like, oh, but I have to do it this way now. Or it's like, no, I know all of the tools, I know all of the pieces, but now what I do with them is up to me.
You can learn all you want, but learning's not doing. Do you know what I mean? Like you can learn and learn and learn, but then when the training wheels are off and it's just you and your notepad or you and your computer, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like I'm reading the exegesis of Philip K. Dick, which is like this massive book of essays and letters that he wrote because he had a nervous breakdown and he wrote letters about it. Yeah. And it's fascinating. But one of the things I find so interesting about it is he couldn't spell. And so like when he'd write a book and then like he'd have to go back and meticulously fix all of his spelling errors. His editors would have to fix everything.
Tarantino's dyslexic and he writes everything longhand. So
and it's like it's this fascinating thing where when you go back to like Philip K. Dick is like up against Stephen King, maybe my favorite or most important author. And I'm like, he has
what about Neil Gaiman?
We'll talk about that during the break.
We can't talk about him anymore. Sorry, I forgot we can't talk about
it's so great that American Gods just manifested one day. On my
American
shelf.
Gods, Harry Potter, we're all just like...
they just appeared.
They just appeared.
The death of the author to the nth degree.
But he had such little confidence in himself. And like you look at like Duran Joy's Dream of Electric Sheep or Minority Report or any of that, and you're like, wow, that's amazing. He probably thought it was pretty mediocre. When you know what I mean? So it's one of those things where you can write, but even then you write something and you might be like, this kind of sucks. But then a publishing agent will be like, this is gold.
You also can't be objective about your own
that's
creation.
different as well.
You look at like even talking from my own experience, and one of the main things I will say as an author to any aspiring authors listening, you will get your feelings hurt 100%. Like whether you Googling yourself can be the best and worst experience of your life. Because there are people who will turn around, and there are people who've messaged me and people who've contacted me and said like this is amazing. This is the best story ever. I love this. I love everything about it. And then I have had people turn around and go like, I hate this person, like this main character. I cannot. And then there's people who really, really don't like it. And so it's such a subjective field.
That's the arts. We talk a lot on the show about tall poppy syndrome in Australia. Because, like, especially from a film perspective, people make movies, they can't sell them here. Like, you have to be really lucky to get a film made in Australia if you're an independent filmmaker. Are you self-published or are you traditionally published?
I am traditionally published. Like, yes, I'm traditionally published. Like, sorry, my publisher is not a big publisher and is more.
That's okay.
I would say,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it is a publishing house, so I'm traditionally published.
Yeah. It's I'm totally online. So like I'm on
He
Twitter.
has a problem.
I'm on Twitter, doom scrolling all day,
Yeah.
all day.
Yeah.
And the publishing world is so fascinating. Like if you follow the right people,
Yeah.
because like there's like people out there just trying to sell their work, and they they think their work's great, but then published authors will chime in and be like, "You suck," and I'm like, what is this? Like I feel like the arts are such a dangerous place to be for people with a dream, and it's like I imagine that's what you encounter as well. Like, not just tall poppy syndrome, jealous people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because being traditionally published is difficult. It's not easy to find someone who's willing to give you, to be crass about it, give you money for a book. Most people have to try and just sell it online under their own steam, which works for some people.
Yeah, and even then, it's a case of like, like if you're an aspiring author and you're looking to get in, like the querying process is one of the most soul destroying I've ever been through in my life. Like it is just like sending out. I sent out like 70, 80 odd emails with my book and like turning around going like, hey, sending through, looking through, making sure everything lines up, the query letter, the chapters, all of that, and pretty much 70 odd of them came back and were just like, hey, no. And they all use like the same sort of like canned response. I think I got one or two out of 70 odd. I got one or two that were actually like I could tell that it was personalized.
And apparently, like from like I read a lot on Twitter.
Yeah.
People saying that the personalized rejections.
Yeah,
are like
Twitter
almost,
known for its wholesomeness.
Yeah. Like, there are people who will tell you you've got something when you're getting personalized rejections.
Yeah.
It's not just automatic, but it's one of those interesting things because like publishing is like more cutthroat almost than film. Whereas like even J.K. Rowling with The Philosopher's Stone, rejection after rejection after rejection.
I looked into this because I did a video about like I was like, this is my publishing, this was my process getting published, and some of the like cult classics that we think of and like this is cornerstone of like
Dune.
sci-fi fantasy. Dune was another one. What was it like? Even going like if we're going more like sort of like modern author ideal, like Brandon Sanderson, like his first published novel was like his 14th book. Like it's there's absolutely no rhyme or reason to it. People take what they take.
It sounds very similar to conversations we've had with local filmmakers that have come in.
You have to develop
it's the
thick
same
skin.
It's the same thing. They get knocked back all the time.
Yeah. Before we get to publishing, though, we should rewind. So you're writing, you're coming up with things, and then was there a point where you're like, I'm going to sit down and write a novel, or did it just naturally sort of evolve out of the little things you've been working on?
It did. Like it just sort of developed. Like there was a point where, because there was a lot of novels, a lot of stories that I was writing beforehand that for reasons that were like they were essentially fan fiction, where I sort of came up and went, I can't publish this. This is a copyrighted IP or whatever. Like
could always do the Twilight thing. Well, was it 50 Shades of Grey? Was a Twilight fan fiction, and then just changed.
I love that.
But so, like, out of those kind of, I guess, moments of fan fiction, you can take those really great ideas you had in there and turn them into something more original, or include those great moments that you wrote into something in another setting.
Exactly. Yeah, and there was a bit of that, and then I started writing this story, and it was moving, and there were things happening, and it felt sort of original enough that at the time I was like, oh, okay, we can do something with this, and then we got about. It must have been about halfway through, and I've gone, you know what, I'm like reading over it, I'm like, this isn't, it's not horrible. So let's give it a go. And that led into what would have been about at the time about 180,000 word manuscript that I then showed to my wife, and she read the whole thing and was like, cool. It's real long. It's good, but it's long. And I'm like, all right. But yeah, so there was definitely a point that from writing that up, that there was a point in that I sort of went, I can I can do it with
I've
this
got
one.
something.
I've got something.
And this
here.
is the Heimgard.
This is this
stuff?
one. Yeah, the
Him-
Harbingers of
Himgard?
Ragnarok.
Himgard, sorry.
Yeah.
So we spoke to Wade, who was part of your team at Conquest, and
I
he
have
was
a team.
Yeah, well-
He's sorry. I should iterate. He came up to me. He felt so bad. He came up because he's my best friend. He was my best. He was the best man at my wedding. Fantastic dude. But he's how to put it. I don't so much have a team. It's more like he was helping me out at the thing, and he is like in a way he is part of my team in that regard. But like he came up to me afterwards and was like, "Hey, I just want everything above board." Just in case something happens. Some guys came up to me, they gave me their card, and they did a quick interview. I made sure I let them know that I am not the creative mind behind this.
He took full credit.
Yeah, it was all me. It was all me. Yeah.
No, he did say, I remember at the end of the interview, he did say, he's like, they only let me out of the cave occasionally.
Yeah.
He's like, otherwise I'm like locked
Yeah,
away.
he got his baby Ruth, and we put him.
So he was very nice.
He's a fantastic.
No,
dude.
but my point was,
Lovely dude.
for listeners, you can see that on YouTube. It was just a short, like 5-minute interview. But he gives us a rundown. Could you give us a rundown of? So you created this world, Himgard, and it's your first novel, Harbingers.
Harbingers of Ragnarok. It's the series. So we've got
Okay,
there's
that's the
now
series.
2 novels.
Berserker is the first.
Berserker is the first one, and Ulfhedinn is the second one.
Okay, Berserker was the one we saw at Conquest, I
Yes.
think. Yeah.
Ulfhedinn has come out in like the last month.
Okay,
So,
so that's
yeah.
the
Oh,
new one.
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Is that what's launching on
Yes.
Saturday? This
Yeah,
is that's
the second
one.
one's
Okay,
launching
the
on
second one.
Saturday.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I just wanted to get the timeline straight.
Mhm.
So you wrote, did you come up with Himgard first, or did you write and then be like, oh, it's set in this place. Now I'm going to set some rules.
So
Because I love world building.
yeah, of course. So I started off. The novels came first. The novels were like the first thing. Like I started building this world, and it was just this, like, war-torn, desolate wasteland with Midgard, the city. And I then realized that I was running my own tabletop game. I was building a world for my tabletop game and building this world for my books, and I'm going, why am I building 2 worlds? So I was like, they're the same thing, so why don't I just... So that then started to cultivate into this ideal of, okay, how do we make this into something unique and interesting? And so essentially in a very much a similar, like, we all Warhammer fans here? 40k fans?
I'm a fan. I would say it's fair to say we're fans, but we don't play.
We're fans.
No.
We're
As long
fans,
as we know the lore, that's
Fans
all.
of-
we're
Yeah,
fans from
fans of-
afar.
fans of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
lore.
yeah. Similar, like, you know, it's I fully get it. The concept for me was very much going, okay, what if we made this sort of a Horus Heresy situation of like, so we got the books, which are like the lead up to to Ragnarok, obviously, which is sort of the, I was trying to think of the word for this. Yeah. But it's
Armageddon.
also like for the tabletop game, it's almost like the origin story, like the same way that like the Horus Heresy is sort of the big setup for Warhammer 40k. Ragnarok is the big setup for Himgard, because that sort of
So the books come first.
yes,
Yeah.
about 500 years earlier.
Okay.
So yeah,
The book set up the world, and then you play in that world in the tabletop.
yeah.
Can you give us just a brief rundown of the universe? So, like, where is it set? What is it kind of, who are the principal cast or characters?
Okay.
Just for listeners
Are
at
you
home.
talking about again? We talking about the books or the
The
game?
books. The books.
The books, but just like, I guess an overall synopsis of what it all is as a package.
So overall, you're looking at a this is a sort of a world destroyed by sort of the last war of humanity. So it's sort of like a double apocalypse almost. You've just had one, you're about to have another one. But so the last world of the shining empire of humanity came to an end with the what I just call the End War. It's what the people know it as, and the Firestorm, which was essentially the culmination of the free people of the world launching monstrous weapons all at the same time and just purging the world of life, except for one city, which was Midgard, or at least that's what they believe. due to the barrier that came up around Midgard, they and sort of like symbols they saw in it, they believed that they were saved by the Aesir, the Norse gods. So there's sort of like this immediate resurgence of knowledge and change of faith and all that sort of stuff over to the Norse religion, worshipping the Norse gods, and sort of change in culture. The story for the books follows Malik, who is a young man who young man working to support his single mother, who, upon being laid off one night, returns home with the ideals of essentially going, "Hey, if I join the military, we're set," like essentially. However, upon returning home, he witnesses his mother's murder, and due to some key clues with the killer, he believes that the killer was hired by his estranged father. He is also he in this attack he attacks the assassin, and in turn is himself killed. But is then saved by a mysterious figure called Fenn, who brings him back to life and sets him on this path to become a berserker, which are the sort of Norse warriors that, in this world, they are more of like a privatized military, like warrior mercenaries, who sort of harness the power of rage, and so it's sort of his journey of healing through that newfound family, and then starting to question his his motives and goals, which of course puts him at odds with Fenn and then with the berserkers.
So I saw some of your videos where you described it as techno fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
So in the world of the books, are we already at that point where it's like sort of futuristic technology or modern technology, but also with magic, or is that later in the...
No, that's in there. So it's sort of the, like, essentially they've scavenged what they could, so there's like, TV screens and things, but also then things like cars and...
it's like Mad Max-ish.
Similar, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's for the world, like for the game, I very much push it to being sort of a Mad Max / like have you played the Horizon games, like Horizon Zero Dawn?
Oh yes,
similar to that sort of style. Because I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah, it's
and
really
I
cool.
desperately needed to get this away from just straight up, medieval Norse fantasy.
Yeah, it sets it apart.
Speaking of fantasy, how did you design? What is the magic system in your world like? How did you design it?
The magic system in my world is generally like it's not a hugely complex one. It's generally just a for the main one that comes up is with the Valkyrie, it's very much surrounding energy to life sort of thing, or it's just energy and power is granted by the gods sort of thing. So
I'm a firm believer in don't over-explain it when it comes to magic, because one of the issues I have with Brandon Sanderson is that he goes to great pains to make his magic systems both complicated and incredibly video game-like. And I tried reading Mistborn, which is one of his most famous novels.
Of course.
I read the whole thing, hated it. Yeah. Because it's literally, I'm going to press this button and it gives me... it's like video games. It's like, I'm going to press a button, it gives me this power. If I combine these two buttons...
But I mean, I haven't read those books, but like
There'll
sometimes
be a market. There'll be a market for that.
No, people. I was reading about this yesterday. People love it.
Yeah, people go nuts. But what I was going to say is, I think you guys might agree. Like sometimes it's cool when there are rules that the creator has set out, and it's like, oh, cool, we have to follow this kind of.
I think it's cool that it is cool when the story revolves around it almost. Like it's when it's part of that actual like okay. Sort of in that ideal of, yes, I really want to know what the limitations and like trade-off is for magic when that magic is the core sort of area of like the one that comes to mind I think about is like Full Metal Alchemist. We know Full Metal, like the whole transmutation thing, like that is front and center for the entire show, all of it. So it's like that is that area where it's like, oh, cool. So the whole, like equivalent exchange thing, and then the, imminent trauma that follows that is very much all tied into that. But then if you were to turn around to another show does not, like if you were to make a Full Metal Alchemist offshoot and they don't tell me what transmutation does.
The best example in epic fantasy that I can think of for magic is probably the Wheel of Time, because they explain it. No, like the reason I like it is because it's explained, but there's still that mystery in it. So even though we as an audience know how it works with the threads and whatnot, it's vague enough that you can make incredible things happen within that framework. But of course, the GOAT's Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Sorry. I was gonna say just quickly. I laugh because my dad, bless him, he tries, but he does not get the nerd world or fantasy or anything like that. For my birthday, I think it was 2 years ago, he shows me, he's like, I got you a book, and he hands me
The Wheel of Time.
The Wheel of Time. And I've looked it over. I'm like, I have not read The Wheel of Time. I'm one of those people that's like, I can't. I know what that's about. I'm like, I can't. And so I've looked at it, I'm like, this is, and I've looked it over, I've like flipped it over to the spine. I'm like, Dad, this is book 14.
Yeah.
And he turns to me, he looks me dead in the eye and goes, yeah, the guy in the shop said you don't have to read them in order. And I'm just like, Dad, I know one thing for sure about the Wheel of Time series, and that is you have to read them in order.
Also, that is also a terrible present idea unless you know that person very well and that's their thing and they want that book already, because you don't sign someone up to a 15, 14 book of obligation.
It's like I bought you book 25 of the Horus Heresy series.
Yeah, but it's like,
man, let me tell you, the Wheel of Time is a lifestyle choice.
Yeah. Here's book 1. You got another 14 to go. Thanks, Dad.
Because they're all big chunky books.
Yeah.
Have you read The Dark Tower by any chance?
No.
That's also another great example of fantasy world building.
But again, there's so many books.
Yeah.
Be present and careful with your gift choices.
There's the best the best piece of advice I was given about, like, and especially like to carry on what you were saying there, was for fantasy authors, never be specific. Do not give details. Give vague, like, grand ideals. Like, give grand pictures. So it's like, how big is the ship? It's huge. How far, into this cave are we? We've been here for, we've gone for ages or whatever. Like, it's...
Or do what some of the fantasy books do, and they come up with a fake measurement. And then so you're giving a defined measurement, but it has no real world equivalent. So the brain is like, I guess
you should spend time on the details that matter. And not
I mean, again, to go back to J.R. Tolkien and Lord of the Rings, it's a similar thing where it's like he will be like the Mines of Moria, and he'll explain how unfathomably deep it goes in the ground, but he doesn't tell you how long it is, how deep it goes. Same with the magic system. It's like, yes, the wizards know magic. How does it work? I don't know. I'm not a wizard. And it's like also Bombadil, and he's not in the films, of course, but it's like Bombadil. Tolkien thought it was important to have an unexplainable fantasy element. And in the books, that's Bombadil, because like the idea is that the wizards can explain everything away, but there's that one element they can't.
Yeah, he's just always been here.
Which is what fantasy should be. There should be that wonder.
Absolutely, It reminds me of just what we were talking about before, like, the whole like unfathomable thing and not having that. There's one of the books, I think it's Prospero Bones, or one of the Horus Heresy books, where the guy legitimately writes, he's like, oh, it was a demon of the void beyond description, like, and I'm just going, I'm gonna need you to give it a solid go. All right, like, it's just, I'm real sorry, but we got words here. That's all we've got.
Like, the old H.P. Lovecraft is like indescribably horrible, but now here's a page of how indescribably horrible it was.
Let me describe this indescribable horror in detail.
I think my favorite Warhammer 40,000 like fan conspiracy theory is that Event Horizon is like in the universe. That's my
cool.
favorite.
Yeah. Do we have to go to break, or should we?
Do. We have to
we'll go to break and then we'll come back.
We'll be back with more right after these quick messages. You are back live on 98.9 Northwest FM. This is the Tuesday Review, joined by Dragyn to talk all things writing and his new book.
Hell yeah.
Continue, James.
Oh yes, I just had one more question about your writing process, because I mean, I would like to write, but like I just can never get anything down on the page. Like it's pathetic. What's your process? Do you have like, I get up in the morning at 10 and I get up in the morning, then at 10 I start, and then at 5 I log off? Or do you have like, I have to do 5 pages a day, or
you from my experience, I need to do a certain amount per day will only ever lead to depression.
Yeah.
If I held myself to like a daily word count, I'd be a shadow of my former self.
Yeah.
For me, like I treat, because obviously I do like a few other things as well as writing. I treat every day, whether I'm at my
Your day job.
my day job, or I treat every day like it's a work day. I get up at 9. I'm in my studio at 9. I finish up at 5. Generally, I would say, like, as far as getting stuff down on the page, I was throughout some writers' terms here, I was a pantser for a very long time. So there's pantsers and there's outliners. So pantsers it's like you're very much like the term refers to you're writing by the seat of your pants.
Yeah.
Like it's like I'm just gonna go sit down and be like, cool, I'm gonna start writing and see where the story takes me.
The architect or gardener.
Yeah, that's the term that we've read is gardening and being an architect.
Yes, absolutely. The other reference I've heard is what was it, baker or cook? Like because but there are points where I use a combination, because there will be points where I'm sitting there going like, I'm very much, funnily enough, I'm stuck there right now. I'm got to this point in my book, I'm really happy with how everything's gone so far. There's been a couple of really great scenes, and I'm now sitting there going like, how do I get to the next bit? And I can't, and so I had to go back and go, all right, I use Obsidian on my computer, which is really, really great program for it, because it has like a canvas board that you can move cards around on and everything.
Useful, yeah.
It's beautiful. And so I just have everything lined out and I go, all right, cool.
You don't just insult yourself until it works?
Oh, no, that's all in here. That's just a constant, like...
Just do it. Fix it. Just fix it.
Why is it my dad's voice? No. But, yeah, it's but really, like, I think... And again, we talked about it before with, like, tabletop and all that, but, like, you've just really got to start. And it's... In my mind, a lot of books that I've written I don't, like, especially for first draft, I don't start at the start. I start where my brain is. So you can sit there and go like, all right, because my brain gives me scenes. My brain does not give me,
that's great.
This is a full story. It's like, I've just recently, I had this moment and I'd forgotten this sort of ideal of it, but because I was stuck at this point with book 3, which I'm writing at the moment. And I went into my wife's office and I've just go like, all I can think of is this scene from book 4. Like, it is all I've got in my head right now. It is right there and it's crystal clear and it's so cool. And that's all I can think of. And she turned around and she goes like, just write it. Like, just put it down. Like, open up a new document, write it down and leave it there. Yeah. And it might not be the start of the book, but it is where your brain is, because then you can go, all right, cool, like, how did he get here? How did they get here? How did this happen?
There's a famous author, I can't remember, it's going to kill me because I can't remember who it is, but they said that a book is a series of really important scenes. You just have to figure out how they connect to each other.
Yes.
And like, I tend to get a bit weird about like the writing process, because like my feeling is like a story has a certain shape.
Yes.
And if I'm not getting that correct shape, it's going to frustrate me. So like, I'm not a writer, but I'm trying to write something. And I'm at like 6,000 words for my little. It started off.
I love that you say I'm not a writer with quotation marks. Like,
oh no, what I mean is like,
it's very funny because I've had major issues with that word, like with that title, because in my mind I'm like, I called myself for a long time. I've called myself a storyteller because I'm not. In my mind, like the term writer has the same connotations as like chef.
That's like, correct. Yeah.
Like, but then, so because I'm like, if you are a writer, you understand how all of these bits and pieces work and how all of that goes together. Whereas I'm like, I just put the words together till they sound right.
That's right.
I'm a line cook at best.
Yeah. That's right. But like with I started off as a collection of short stories. Then I'm like, no, it's more of a novella. And now it's like a novel.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, well, all of these stories are existing in the same place at the same time. Why don't I just connect them all with the central event type of thing? I was up to the second chapter, and I wrote down 500 words, just the opening section. I felt awful about it. And I'm like, this isn't right. It's not working. I can't, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was at work. I'm like, that's how it starts. It just hit me like out of nowhere. So I'm a firm believer in that you set your unconscious to work on it.
It will never come to you when you're sitting. It's a watched part. Like it's not
like
going to
these
come to you when you're working on it.
To get the weird schizophrenic element out of it. Like the characters have their own story they want to tell, and often it's not about what I want. Because like you'll be writing it down and you'll know that doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And it's like Stephen King has talked about this at length, where it's like the characters have almost a momentum of their own. And it's like, so sometimes you might want it to happen a certain way, but then you'll get to a key decision and then the characters will just be like, ugh. You know what I mean? Like everything you've written up to that point will inform it in a different direction than where you anticipated it going.
I think that's universal. Like we've talked to Matt Morris about his writing process before, a local filmmaker, and he's saying he'll be at work and he has a little recorder with him because it'll come to him out of nowhere while he's working, and then he's got to get it down as a voice note so that he can...
The amount that I can tell you that is, like, it's such a joke, but at the same time, there have been several times that I've been like, I need to keep some kind of, like, note-keeping thing on me.
Notes app.
At all times. Yeah, 100%. Like, the amount of times I'm like, and it's funny because you go back to it later, but you'll forget about it completely, and suddenly you open it, I'm like, what is this about?
What does this even mean?
Why do I have this in my phone?
Well, like the famous stories about, was it Keith Richards waking up in the middle of the night and coming up with riffs and just going back to sleep? He doesn't remember recording them, but he kept that little that tape next to him, and he would play it back in the morning with like gold written on it. He's like, I can't remember that, but it happened.
I've talked about this with Callum. I used to keep a notebook next to my bed because I'd be in bed and be like, oh, that's a great idea, and then write something down. And it was just nothing ever good came of it.
There's also a lot of points where like...
And I couldn't sleep.
there were moments, there've been moments through like running games that players have said some stuff that I'm just like... Yeah, let's do something with that. Because it's like, there was one where one of the players turned around and we're talking about necromancy, and she's like, hang on, Ragnarok's happened, right? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, so there's a lot of dead gods around. I'm like, what happens if necromancers find Thor's body?
Interesting ideas, yeah.
Book 5.
Book 5.
Thor's return.
Yeah.
In terms of the creative process, though, I think the best comment I've ever seen is that famous Hemingway quote, where he says, "Writing is simple or easy. You just sit in front of the typewriter and bleed."
Yeah.
And I think that like you can take that as the literal, in the Hemingway sense, that literal kind of, getting that that demon out of you onto the page. But then it's also just the idea of sitting in there and just doing it. Like even if you don't have an eye, like James was telling me once, like like he asked me for some dumb reason, like how do I write and make it work if I'm writing something down? And the trick is you can't just sit there and wait for inspiration to strike. Sometimes you have to just start writing, because like once you've got some connecting pieces, it's a little easier to find the inspiration once you have a structure in place.
Well, it's also like there's the power of asking questions of your manuscript almost, or like same thing if you've got like a timeline or sort of dot points there, and it's like this person does this, and then you don't know where to go, and it's like, okay, what happens if this person suddenly loses the power that they've been relying on for the last 20 chapters? What if suddenly this person dies, like this character dies? It's like, and then because that can spark those ideals of like, oh, wait a minute, like, and it also reinforms agency, where you suddenly have that idea like, oh, I can do whatever I want, like, really whatever happens.
It's like
here,
I don't really have to end up here just because I thought, I can actually just go anywhere.
Speaking of agency,
you might end up back where you thought you were going to be. Yeah. Anyway,
one of the interesting things about book writing, not necessarily publishing, but book writing as a business, is that like Brandon Sanderson has a certain way of doing things where he'll write a book and then he'll give it to like 20 people and then he'll say, what do you think? And then he will change the entire book based on the beta reader feedback. So my feeling with whenever I hear stories about this is I feel like that's not your book anymore. It's now a book by committee that you've adjusted. how do you feel about but that's a very commercial way of looking at storytelling. It was like, because he sells a bajillion books.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say that he's wrong in doing that. But like, my feeling is it should be something that's almost sacred, where it's like, this is your story, your world from you, and very little room for other chefs to come in and start tinkering with your ingredients.
Yeah.
How do you weigh in on that scale?
Well, first of all, I have said before that I, on the subject of Brandon Sanderson, and that is that I refuse to be compared to a book writing android from the future. But
Human AI.
Brandon
Sanderson.
just like goes on holiday for a
Churning
week
it
and
out.
comes back. He's like, I got a new bestseller for you. No worries, I figured it. Like,
3 new books.
yeah, I just whipped this up while I was in the kitchen. Yeah, like there's a point of it, like and it's one of the things for me. I cannot remember who said it, and much along the same lines we're talking about, it's killing me because I can see them, and I'm like, I don't know who said it, but they were asked the question of like, who, what book would you recommend for the market right now? Like, what book would you suggest for the market? What sort of book would you suggest for the market right now?
It's always chickly,
and,
always.
And he sort of looked at it and he goes, what market?
Yeah,
Like,
one
why?
market.
Why?
Yeah.
I mean,
why?
The
Like,
generally safe answer is paranormal romance.
Yeah,
That's always going to be a massive hit.
yeah. Look, you write some monster smut and you
That's it. You're
make
golden.
billions. All right, like.
All right.
Yeah.
That's it.
But
An uncomfortable truth.
Can you sell your soul?
yeah, look.
Yeah.
I mean, I could.
I remember we talk about a lot with movies, how movies get so generic now because everything's too many cooks in the kitchen. It's very committee driven. So if you're writing for an audience, you end up just not writing anything, like not anything good, because
there's a lot that I see, and this is a conversation I've had with a few people surrounding movies, specifically surrounding actors, because it's something I find very, very interesting. Because I'm like, because me and my dad and me and a few other people have had a lot of conversations about different types of actors, and specifically talking about what do we call it, like sort of what we were calling like acting actors and character actors, because you have people like, in my mind, like the main one that always comes to mind for me is Gary Oldman. Like, Gary Oldman can act. He is like just range
chameleon,
for days.
Yeah.
Same thing, you have Ian McKellen, you have Patrick Stewart, you have Helen Mirren. All of these people who are just, good, fantastic actors. And then you have certain actors, especially nowadays, who it's like, this is not an actor, this is a character.
Kevin Hart,
Jack Black. These are
Dwayne
The Rock Johnson
themselves.
apparently he's broken that with a smashing machine.
He's trying to break out of that hole. He knows he put himself there.
A quote from him that I read today was, he said someone said something to him, like he must have read or heard some derogatory comment about his acting ability. And then he goes, it made him realize, is he doing this for him or is he doing it for like other people? So he's decided to chase his dream.
Yeah.
But I think
love that
might
he
be
does
him
that after making billions of dollars
Yeah,
doing
that's
what
what
he
I-
does.
It's easy to make a movie for yourself now.
yeah. It's like, I'm going to go out and do something different now that I'm a billionaire in Hawaii. And like, but I also saw him in, actually, come to think of it, like I did see him in Be Cool. Have you seen Be Cool?
Oh,
it's like
yeah.
was it the sequel to Get? And he plays the gay bodyguard, and like he's good.
He was fun in that, but that was like 20 years ago. That was before he like turned into an international brand.
Yeah, that was before he was an IP.
We always used to say, it's like The Rock isn't an actor; he's a brand.
Yes,
which I think is what you're talking about. It's like, as much as we love, people like Jack Black, it's like he's Jack Black. He does his thing.
I was 100% like, there was a thing I saw with Jack Black, which I had the moment watching I haven't seen it, but watching different clips in the trailer for the Minecraft movie and seeing him do the Lava Chicken song, that I'm like, oh cool, it's just Jack Black. Like, it's just this is what you do now. Yeah. It's like,
and it's a shame because he's not a bad actor too. Have you seen High Fidelity?
No, I've definitely seen stuff with him in it that I'm like, okay,
it's good in King Kong. Remember King Kong?
Yes.
I still know what you did last summer.
Was he greatest role?
Was he in that?
He's got like dreadlocks. He's like the pool boy. he's like selling people weed.
Because I remember him. He was in what's the Empire Records? Was he in that? He's the.
Was that a TV show?
Oh, am I thinking of something else? I've definitely seen him in a movie where he works in like a.
I think you're thinking of
High Fidelity.
That's High Fidelity.
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
He works in the
He does the like the
He works
finger
in the
shooty
record.
thing with like the. No.
I can't remember. But he has
Anyway.
a great musical performance at the end of the film, which ties everything together. It's awesome.
Yeah. I will say, I love Jack Black,
Oh,
but
he's
like,
great.
yeah, but it's 100% that
he
like
plays himself.
You go to see a movie with Jack Black, and you're like, I know exactly what I'm getting into.
Yeah.
Because it was the same thing, like looking at what was it? I still haven't seen it, but the major blunder I've seen of before it even came out was the Borderlands movie. Because
Nobody saw the Borderlands.
No one saw it.
It doesn't exist.
No, like that was the consensus I got from everyone I spoke to. Was I'm just like, hey, did you see this? They're like, no, like no one did. Because I'm looking at it going, there are so many choices here that do not make sense. Like the main one being like Kevin Hart as Roland. I'm like, Roland is the definition of a straight man, straight man. Like he is.
It's very the corporation, the algorithm is like, oh, our calculations say he's a good. It's like why Chris Pratt is in everything and voices everything. It's like he's popular with kids and people like him in Marvel. It's like, but also, he's wrong for the. And
I haven't seen it, obviously, but it also kind of screams out to me just CGI laden mess of a movie too. So I'm like, I'm more or less inclined.
Everything now is just green screen. Anyway, we're getting off track. We don't have a lot of time. So you wrote? Did you write Berserker first, and then you had a complete manuscript and you sent it out to publishers? Is that how it worked?
No, so I had so the first manuscript that I wrote was what is now the first two books.
Oh yeah, so, you said it was like a big thing.
So essentially, as I mentioned, like my wife read it over and was like, "This is really long."
Yeah.
And we looked it up, and every source that we found basically said no fantasy publisher will consider a debut novel over 90,000 words.
Yeah,
like that is a pretty hard line. Like unless you present something absolutely phenomenal, they will not look at a manuscript over 90,000 words.
And that's very much a modern thing, because like not a modern thing, but like if you go back to like even the 80s with novels and so on, like you had books of all sizes, all shapes, debut novels, all sizes and all shapes.
Didn't Tolkien write Lord of the Rings as one big book, and they made him cut it into three
in America.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. Same with Raymond Feist.
Can you imagine trying to hold that?
It's called the Red Book. It's called the Red Book. I gave one to James.
I think I've got one.
Same with Raymond Feist's Magician. In Europe and Australia, you can get Magician in one volume, but in the States, because it was considered too intimidating, they cut it up into a Magician Apprentice and Magician Master, two separate volumes.
I'd just say also books back in the day, the 80s and 90s, they had the best cover art. Remember like all the pulpy horror novels with the really pulpy horror kind of art?
It's
and
the same movie posters, like the actual...
They did it better back. Now most book covers, yours is amazing.
Oh, thank you.
But they're all kind of like, they're all kind of the same.
Yeah, no,
like
they're very
that's just the
generic.
market. That's just
generic, like Photoshop.
Speaking of...
Anyway.
So what was your publishing story like once you've been accepted? I don't want you to get too into the details, because that's between you and your publisher. But like we don't really talk to like people who've been published. Like we don't. You're the first author guest we've had on, especially for traditional publishing. So what was that experience like? Because not many people get to be where you are. So I'd love to know the inside scoop.
So I went through like the main thing is like, as far as getting published, the main thing is the querying process, which, as I mentioned, is one of the last legal forms of torture. Because essentially it's like you've got you gather a list of agents and the few publishing houses that still take direct submissions, because like 90% of publishing houses are closed now to open submissions, so it's all agents. But yeah, so sending off query letter and usually like a sample, usually like the first 2-3 chapters of the novel, and then just waiting for the imminent rejections. But eventually, like, there's you usually, well, at least for me, I got there was a couple of people who were like, oh, can I get the manuscript? Can I read over the rest of the book? Which I'm told is huge. But then,
do you have at least one guaranteed reader?
Oh yeah, like
like I said, like the personalized rejections are considered a huge step forward.
Like there was a couple who came through, like the couple who definitely came back and were like, hey, here are some things I think you need to look over and sort of revise. But and then I sent off my last one to my current publisher. It was an absolute Hail Mary. it was my last batch. It was like, cool, these come back as rejections, and I'm looking into self-publishing. Like we're just gonna get this out.
Self-publishing is actually in a really interesting place at the moment. Have you heard of Orc City?
Orc City.
Okay, so you would only know about this if you're like a doom scroller on Twitter like me.
Okay, no. I'm thankfully a complete stranger to Twitter. So
It's probably
that's
a
what
good thing.
We're trying to get him off it, but he's
Never.
All the amount of people who like as authors, they're like, oh, you have to get a Twitter account.
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
Well, we were struggling with that because we're trying to grow our audience and connect with people.
We made a decision on this show at one point. It was like, it's about growth, advertise everywhere, we can kind of only engage what we want to engage with. And we reached to a certain point where we're just like, you know what, nah, we're off Twitter, we're off all these
We got off, and then we got back on because we're like, no, we really need, there's a lot of people we need to connect
and then it
with.
keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And we're just like,
we can't support that.
The reason I mention it is because like there's a lot of self-published authors who just could not get that one publisher who was interested. And like they started like, there's like a whole movement of like post your prologue online. And some poor guy has like a pretty good fantasy novel, but for some reason it's about orcs and elves and the war. So it's kind of basic. Yeah. But it's fun. It's like a young adult story. Yeah. But like he called the city Orc City. Yes. The poor guy got annihilated online. But he turned it around. Like he used the momentum to be like, yeah, you think it's funny? Why don't you buy my book? It's $5. Anyway, do you know what I mean?
He's like, no such thing as bad press.
Yeah, he's
no
like,
bad press.
He's like, take it to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, I just find it fascinating because they say that because. Okay, so I'm gonna throw something in the last 5 minutes of the show. I'm gonna throw something a bit controversial at you, because you're a representative of the publishing industry.
Yeah, of course I am.
There's a feeling,
so as a white man, I'm sorry for everything.
There's a sentiment online that it's very difficult for men to be published in traditional publishing. Obviously, you're an exception to that, as you're a man and you're being published. But it's like if you go into like most bookstores, at least in the States, like from online, if you read online, it's just chick lit everywhere. And so like there's this whole thing where if you want to read like masculine, I'm putting this in quotation marks for the audience at home, masculine stories or traditional stories like Dune, for example, and stuff like that, you have to kind of go online to find new authors because it's very difficult in the publishing industry right now to get traditionally published. So traditionally published books will appear in bookstores. Self-published books are less likely to. Unless there's like an agreement with Amazon.
Yeah, like getting your book into bookstores as a self-published, or like even for myself, like my book's not in bookstores. Like my publishers don't have those connections yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, like so getting your books into bookstores is a nightmare. Which
it's the second circle of hell.
Yes,
you've already been through the first one.
Yeah, you've been through the first, and then it's just like just razor wire and lemon juice.
It's a fascinating conversation though, because like apparently there's a real, this is an American issue, not an Australian one. But like I'm terminally online, so like I see all this stuff, and like most Twitter users in America anyway. Apparently America has a really terrible literacy rate for boys.
I'm shocked.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
And like not just the South, you know what I mean? So it's interesting to see people arguing about like, well, where are you supposed to get fantasy and adventurous stories for young boys and of course young girls, because young girls also love fantasy.
Oh yeah.
I just thought it was interesting, like that whole conversation on what's marketable and what do you have to self-publish, because it seems like you're very lucky that you have found a publisher. I'm not, you're like I said, you're the exception. From my reading online, it's completely cutthroat in self-publishing because for some reason authors are willing to throw each other under the bus to get that extra view, which might get that extra book sale.
It's in my mind like the amount of there's a level of it that is that sort of cutthroat, like I'm willing to, and everyone's on their own journey. It's the main thing that I've learned. Like you look at anything, and there's a lot of times that even I see an author pop up with one of their success stories, and I'm just like, like why don't I have that? Why don't I wrote a book, but then the amount of it that's also like there's, and there's so much pretension in the writing world. There's so much of like, I've written this, so
that's not unique to the writing world.
No. And in any world, there's this
the local Melbourne film industry had a great.
And there's like, because there's some of the stuff I've seen and some of the reviews that I've read that I'm just like, this whole thing just feels like a flex. Like, this doesn't feel like an actual review. It's just sort of like I've read this and that and more and blah, blah, and you're like, cool. Like, are you going to get to the book? Or like,
I saw a thread about it once, like a little essay, that the problem with not publishing, but like the book industry, is that the people like the published authors at the top who are raking it in, the ones who have the influence, they feel threatened by the idea of self-publishing because it means that it's democratized. So anybody can now write a book, and if you're not lucky enough to get published, you can like put it out there yourself. So you will see authors of repute like it's like punching down at like little authors to like, this isn't good, you know, blah blah blah. But then you'll read it and you're like, this is actually pretty interesting. So there's this idea of it's like shark attacks in the publishing industry where it's like you're trying to stop, not stifle voices, but it's like people get really weird about their egos online. So it's like if you write, like, let's just say I wrote a book in the vein of Neil Gaiman. It's like if Neil Gaiman, of course he would never do this, but I'm saying like I've seen instances where like authors in specific genres will attack other authors. It's like, you know, in this instance it would be Neil Gaiman being like, don't quit your day job. Not that he would, but you know what I mean? So it's, it's just fascinating to see the egos that some people bring out when they feel threatened by, like, whether it's independent film, independent books.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a shame because all artists should be...
a rising tide.
Yeah, unfortunately, we run out of time.
We're all out of time.
Hang on. Well, hang on. I just want to say one thing. We'll have to get you back on because there's a lot more to talk about.
Yeah, definitely.
Long story short, you got your first book, Berserker, published. Yep. And your second book is it already out technically?
It is out, yeah.
It is out, but you're having a book launch.
Yeah. So the book launch is this Saturday at Glenmore Library.
What's the date?
September 6th. It'll be September 6th at Glenmore Library. Tickets are available through Eventbrite.
They are free.
They are free, but they are limited. So
we stole 4.
If you are in the we stole 4.
That's it.
Oh yeah. So if you wanna come down, I will have copies of Berserker as well if you don't already have it. And I will be signing all of them. So
excellent.
Apologies for derailing the show.
That's all right. No, it's like it's just
it's going to happen. Like I've never had any sort of
we used to. I mean,
live show that
we used to be able to sort of do 2 hours, and that would have been much better. But we'll have to have you on another time. You also have YouTube and Twitch under Heavy.
I will be on in about an hour.
Okay, well, so you got to get out of here anyway. All right, so under Heavy Metal Game Master.
Heavy Metal Game Master.
And also you've created the novels and the world of Himgard, and you're creating the tabletop world out of that as well, which we'll talk about that another time because that's something I really want to talk about.
Yeah, definitely. You've got Dragyn Jane, the author this time. You'll have Heavy Metal Game Master next time, and we'll talk all things tabletop. That's all.
One more thing. We asked this of all our guests.
Okay.
No wrong or right answer.
Gut feeling.
Yeah.
Oh,
gut feeling.
Watch me be the first. Yeah.
No, we've had some questionable answers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there were a couple of wrong answers. We know you said you weren't as much as a movie guy, but do you have a favorite movie? Anything that
don't think about gut feeling.
First thing that pops in
favorite movie, like Lord of the Rings, is
which one?
Oh
no, I'll accept that as one.
I will say just because it's if you saw my Instagram posts and my posts and my various platforms advertising this show, if you were keen enough to catch the quote that I used, Cool Runnings still has a very strong place in my heart. Like I love. So it's one of the only movies that I will say that is 100% pitched as a comedy movie, and yet it will make you cry. Oh, it's just that the ending bit gets me
goosebumps
every time, every single time.
I always quote that movie.
All right,
kiss my egg.
Kiss my. You want to kiss my lucky egg?
We're all out of time.
I see pride. I see power.
We're all out of time. Thanks for listening, everyone. You can catch the Tuesday review on all the social media platforms we participate in, which is Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, Blue Sky. At Tuesday Review AU on YouTube, at Tuesday Review AU. Please rate us 5 stars.
Dragyn, where can people find you online?
You can find me at Heavy Metal Game Master on Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. And you can find me at dragynjane.com.au. If you're listening at the moment and you're interested, I will be live on Twitch in about an hour at 8 p.m. AEST. So yeah, please drop on by and check out my book and my book launch and all that sort of stuff.
Come say hi at the book launch. We'll be there. And we'll
Hell
see you
yeah.
on Saturday, 11 a.m.
See you then.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll be back next week. Adios, cousins.